Welcome to Super Training. My name is Chris, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you a demonstration of the NetSuite system as it currently stands. So I'm assuming for the sake of this that you work for a company that is shopping around looking for an ERP system and is wanting to check out NetSuite. If you're looking for a full tutorial or a deep dive into the software, then I have plenty of other videos on my channel that accomplish that purpose. This is going to be a broad level understanding of the software, a look into the dashboard and some basic features contained within it, as well as some concepts to keep in mind if you are looking to purchase and implement NetSuite. So first off, what is NetSuite? NetSuite is a cloud-based ERP software that's primarily targeted for small to mid-sized companies. NetSuite's primary strength is in the accounting area. That is where it is most stable and it has the most functionality. It can do other things such as manufacturing, inventory management, CRM, payroll, all of these other various functions, but accounting is what it's known for and strongest in. It also has a very robust third-party app ecosystem. So if there's other particular features or integrations that you want to tie into NetSuite, you have many options to do so. So with all that in mind, let's now actually dive into the software and take a look around. So here we are in the home dashboard for NetSuite. And just as a quick disclaimer, if this looks a little bit different than what you've seen in other videos or even in a demo, the reason for that is I'm using the new Redwood user interface. This is something that just got released about a month or two ago. So a lot of people haven't actually started using this. The functionality is identical. It's just a little bit of a cleaner look. So really what we're looking at right now, this is a home dashboard, but more importantly, a home dashboard for one particular user. Every user that logs into NetSuite will do so through a role. Basically, what is their job in the system? So that might be an accounts manager, that might be a sales representative. In this case, if you look on the top right here, you can see I'm currently in a controller role. I'm listed as Carol Morgan in this case, and I'm working for a company called Stairway for Services US. So that controller role that we're currently logged in with is very important because everything that you see here on the dashboard is going to be crafted to fit that particular role. And this all comes straight out of the box when you get NetSuite. Based on the role that you're logging in with, it comes with these pre-built dashboards that you can utilize, and they're really crafted to optimize what you need for your job. So taking a look at it, you can see, especially in this lower section here, we have all of these little white windows, and we can move them around, we can drag them. Every single one of these is referred to as a portlet. And each portlet has its own specific function, generally for reporting purposes. Some of them contain tools within them. And as you can see, each one of these portlets that came out of the box are specifically tailored for a controller. So you can see we have these tiles, which are really shortcuts to dive into the balance sheet or the trial balance. Down from that, we have KPIs, so you can see there's all of these different KPIs and little charts so you can visualize them. You can customize every one of these portlets, add additional features, customize the look or the size of them. There's a lot of different flexibility when you're dealing with your dashboard. And scrolling down, we've got more KPIs here. This is the top 10 customers. You can see it's quite dynamic. We could also change it from fiscal year to fiscal quarter. Again, lots of customization. We've got financials overview, sales by period, and on and on. There's so many different portlets that you can add to your dashboard, take ones off, reconfigure things. If you feel like this is too much on the page at once, you have pretty much unlimited options for every user to customize their own dashboard, and it's very simple to execute. Moving back up to the top here, there's one particular portlet I want to point out, which is this reminders portlet. So this is a portlet that every single user will have, but the items that are on that portlet will be specific to that role. So as a controller, I have things like bills to pay, new customers, bills to approve. And what's so important about this is, let's say you're an inventory manager, you might have items to fulfill. So this is where you can come in and immediately see what you have in your production lineup for the day. And you can simply click on it. It will show you the items that you need to handle, and you can process or handle those as necessary. You can also take things off, add new items as you want. Again, a lot of flexibility in terms of crafting this to your specific needs, whatever role that you're currently in. So now let's take a look at some of the reporting capabilities that come with NetSuite. So if I come up here, notice in this thick blue bar we have at the top here, we have all these drop-down menus. Again, this is specifically for a controller, so they're all related to a controller. And we have reports right here. So I could dive into this. You can see we have tons of different reports contained within here, but I have a few that are already pulled up. So let's actually just open those up. I have a sales by item summary. So this just gives you a concept of what these reports look like in NetSuite and also some of the functionality for them. So you can see here, I have all the various items broken up by item category. So we have non-inventory. It's accordion style, so I can expand or collapse it as necessary. And you can see for each one, we have the total revenue in this case, how many of that thing was sold, the total revenue for that. And for this report and for almost every single other one, we have these options down here to filter this report by. So we can filter it by period, by specific dates. We can choose what subsidiary we want to focus on, or by any other category here in this column. Maybe we want to do it by product class or by location. So many different options, very easily accessible for any general user to get the hang of it and kind of navigate around. So this is a sales report. Let's take a look at a more traditional financial report. We'll come up here to the income statement. And as you would expect, we've got things like the income, cost of goods sold, expenses, all of these different things you would generally see in a financial report. Same filters here at the bottom. But one thing I'll particularly want to point out is you have the ability in these reports to drill deep into any one particular thing. So let's say we have revenue services here for 59 million. We can click on that number, and it will actually drill down into what composes that number. So here we see all of the different journal entries and sales that make up that $59 million. So we can scroll through this and look at any of these items, or even drill down into one particular journal entry. So let's say this top one here, we want to know what exactly is involved in this $539,000 journal entry. Well, we can click on that, and it actually brings us to that specific record where we can see all the various line items that compose it. So if I scroll down here, you can see this is mainly made up of revenue recognition line items. So very dynamic. You can drill into the specifics, or you can take a more broad approach when dealing with any particular report. All of these reports that I've showed you so far, these are all off-the-shelf reports. They come naturally with NetSuite, but you can make custom reports as necessary. Another important reporting tool is using saved searches. So for example, I have a saved search report here for AP aging. So you can see I have the name of the vendor on the left here. I have the current amount owed to that vendor, and then the 1 to 30 day period, 30 to 60, etc., the total due on the far right here. So you get all this information, and any one of these reports, you can come up here to edit this search, and you can really slice and dice them any way you want. You can take out columns, you can add additional ones in. You have a lot of flexibility with these saved searches. They're a very robust tool in general to really drill down into what you exactly need, whether that's a list or you want certain alerts to be sent out as an email to maybe the executives of your company. You can set all of these things up with the saved search capabilities. But there's actually a third reporting tool that is often overlooked, which in my opinion is one of the most powerful in NetSuite, and that's Suite Analytics workbooks. So I have one pulled up here. Just as an example, this is a workbook. You can see here, this is for AP aging as well, but this workbook is comprised of a number of different charts and visual graphs, as well as pivot tables that you simply cannot accomplish using a normal saved search. So if I go to this pivot table, you can see we're similarly looking at our vendors on the left here, and then we can see the various amounts that are owed on the right, but we also have it broken down by year on the top. So it is a pivot table. You can see this is all for the year 2024. If we scroll even further, it shows us 2023, 2022, etc. So you can add those joins and those additional elements in the pivot table that you can't necessarily achieve through a normal report or saved search. And as I mentioned before, Suite Analytics has a lot of different options when it comes to more visual graphs, charts, reports, things like that. So here we have a normal bar chart. And again, you could change the colors. You can click on any one of these and it will drill down into and focus on that one particular item. And we also have a stacked area chart here. Again, you can highlight on any one particular thing. It gives you some pop-up information on that. Everything is customizable here. You can change the date parameters. You can add additional factors, change the colors, add little tags that come onto it. All of these things are very accessible and easily done by any user as long as you gain some basic information about how the system works. I have videos that cover all of these things in YouTube videos as well as on my various courses. So not difficult to learn how to do these things, and the functionality comes out of the box with NetSuite. So with those reporting tools in mind, let's take a look at how a general record gets created and some of the factors involved in that. So even from this page, I always have a little option up here. The little page allows you to create a new record of any type that you want. In this particular case, I have a few specific options available, and I want to create a new sales order. So I'm going to click on that. We'll leave this current page, and it's going to pull up a blank sales order form for me. So without going into all the specific fields and everything that's involved in it, which I cover in other videos, the main point I want to make here is that everything you see here is entirely customizable. You can take certain fields off, you can reconfigure them, you can add things, make them disabled, mandatory, you can have certain fields only appear for certain roles. Every single thing is customizable with this, including the various sub-tabs that are shown at the bottom, options you have with that. Another option you have available to you is the creation of workflows, which I have another one pulled up here. So this is an expense report approval workflow. This is something that took me about 10 minutes to create, all with just point and click options that allows an expense report to go through the necessary individuals for proper approval. So you can set up any approval workflow with any number of different parameters that you want. You can create an automation that when you pull up a certain type of form, it fills in the customer's preferred payment method. Any type of time-saving or efficiency-based workflow to make things easier for your users and get more utility out of this system. There's so many different options. And if you want to go the route of having a JavaScript developer who can go in the system and do even further customizations and automations, you always have that as an option. But even with just a base understanding of the system, there's so much that you can accomplish and so much power that exists in the system as it is. So that's just a quick and broad overview on the software as well as some of its functionality. Before I wrap up this video though, I want to make sure you're aware of a couple additional points as well as some resources that are available to you. So first off, if you're looking at purchasing NetSuite, I heavily recommend that instead of purchasing it from Oracle NetSuite specifically and directly, you take a look at some of the other vendors that are able to purchase from. There's many reasons why that can be a much better option in terms of purchasing it from a different vendor as well as getting it implemented by someone other than Oracle NetSuite. It really would take me quite some time to go into the details on that, but I do have some videos down in the links below that specifically cover pricing for the NetSuite software, as well as how to best choose your implementation partner. A lot of different pieces of information that you should think with in relation to that. And let's say you do end up purchasing NetSuite. I have an entire free 35-minute basically implementation guide that gives you all the basic facts on methodology, timeline, and things that you need to think with to best increase your likelihood of having a successful NetSuite implementation. So if you're strongly considering going with NetSuite as your ERP option, I highly recommend you take advantage of those free resources. And with that, I wish you the best of luck in your implementation, and I hope to see you in the next video.